Hey everyone, and welcome back to Group Up Here, our Overwatch League and esports premiere show from Hungover Media. My name's Ivan over there,
Julian, what's up, guys? Welcome to the show.
and we've got a lot to get into this week, so we're just gonna dive right in if we can
That
use
is,
that comp
look, we're
for
trying to
this for
keep
this
the
one.
show to 30 minutes, so yes, we gotta start now.
Group up with me.
All right, so a lot of things happened this week in Overwatch League, and a lot of them were really great games that we saw through a bunch of different teams that we were
Hmm.
actually very surprised by. But there's also a lot of drama and things going on around the
Drama!
league.
Juicy
Uh,
stuff.
yeah, so the first one that we'll start off with, off the bat, we're gonna go through like some punishment stuff that was released by Overwatch and Blizzard and some other stuff. So in terms of the punishments, we have Taimu of Dallas Fuel was finally received a punishment for his Twitch stream. He made a disparaging remark, which is a common one used on the internet, unfortunately, uh,
Yep.
homophobic. So he got fined $1,000, even though it was his personal Twitch stream. He wasn't doing it on company hours, but because the Overwatch League has this player code of conduct, he
They
violated it
signed a
technically.
contract for this, so
Yeah, and they finally released a code of conduct by which all the players had to abide by.
that's good.
The
That's good.
another one is the team that we're watching here behind ourselves, the Houston Outlaws. Their coach Tyrong received a formal warning for a really ill-advised picture that he sent out. It was a meme of the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings that was really has no place, I think,
Yeah.
and it was they considered it a formal warning for now because of the $1,000 that he donated to the Hiroshima Peace Culture Foundation, and those were two of them. And in a similar vein is xQc getting fined for a few different things. He got fined $4,000. This is his second offense, so it's $6,000 total, Julian. And this four thousand
Damn.
dollars was for calling the casters cancer, also for posting a racially disparaging emote in the Twitch chat.
God
So
damn,
the
man.
it's a very complicated and kind of mixed history with this emote, the Try Hard 7 emote. A lot
Yeah.
of people know what it is at this point, but basically it brews down to Twitch speedrunner Trihex was at Acon, took a weird photo. His community loved his face in it, so they made it into a thing where if you're trying too hard on a game or something, that is what you would post. And as part of Twitch culture, whenever there's a black guy on screen in a lot of Twitch streams, you just spam out this try hard thing. And Malik Forte, who was the person who xQc was greeting with the try hard,
Hmm.
responded saying that he doesn't think that xQc did it in a racially motivated thing, but it's the fact that he's leading a group of people who will continue to do that and not stating anything against it, and that his response to it was something that he didn't like, and he didn't think he handled it correctly. And so Overwatch League really is trying to Blizzard and Overwatch and Twitch are trying to create this kind of elevated viewing experience, and so they wanted to make sure that that was stopped as much as possible, and so that this is kind of the punishment that was handed down: $4,000, 4 game suspension, and that was that. Kind of also dropped into this punishment section in something that I don't think was equivalent to any of the other things. Was LA Valiant's Silk Thread, who we haven't seen in a while actually.
No, not at all.
He was fined $1,000 for account sharing. So what we could be seeing is an internal punishment, so preventing him from participating in the matches. But this was all really intense. What do you think of it?
Yeah, it's not a good look for Overwatch League to have your players and even a coach, which is crazy. I didn't even know the name of the coach, to be honest with you. But to have the people that you have in the front, in the spotlight, just acting so disrespectful towards each other, towards other people, and just being all around, very disrespectful people. I mean, I know gamers have this sort of, um, I guess, stigma about them. We're all assholes to each other at some point, but it's usually not. Well, no, that's a lie. It's not you. It's usually just we're throwing slurs at each other, using horrible words that we shouldn't be using, even if it is just a joke. But when it comes down to it, this is their job as they're professional gamers. These are professional gamers who are making lots of money for playing a video game. Whether you want to see it as a sport or just playing video games, this is still their job. They have to act professionally and act as if they were, in a professional setting. Because if you really want, as a lot of gamers do, they want to be taken seriously. They've been fighting for this for so long, and look at us now, right? We finally can go, people, young guys mostly, can go to school. I mean, I would love to see more women even the Overwatch League in general, but young people can go to school and college and get a scholarship to play video games for a living, and that's awesome. So it's like, if this is your dream, you want it to be taken seriously by the outside world, by people who are not gamers. And this is just showing that gamers have not grown up at all, and as these are the generation that leads into games being taken more seriously in a professional setting. So I don't stand for this at all. I don't care even if it was a joke or whatever. It's still wrong.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yep.
Going along with that, in terms of some of the gender disparities and different things, we had another incident that occurred over the week. So, as we know, Overwatch League has some female reporters, including Zoe Gershwind. She
Yep.
posted on March 8th, International Women's Day, a tweet that was thanking men for being allies of the women's movement for equality. And within 20 minutes, she posted another tweet that said, 20 minutes she's been getting hate messages and death threats. It's a really weird thing when women are telling other women how to be good women. I mean, everyone is free to express their opinions and support the movement or cause
Right.
that they're willing to support in their own way. I think this is a strong a strong reason that we need to really understand where people are coming from when they're posting these things. I understand there's a lot of different versions of feminism. There's a lot of interpretations of it, but I think that sending death threats and different things is way beyond what is acceptable as a
No.
response to that. I mean, thinking about things like internationalization of feminism, fourth wave, things like that. Yeah, okay, this is one argument of feminism, but sending a death threat because somebody thanked men for being supportive of an equality movement, I think is well beyond the pale. How about you?
Uh, it's really horrible. You should never really be sending death threats to anyone in general, I don't think. I think that's just a general
That's a
rule.
hungover gaming approved message.
Yes, don't send death threats. That's horrible. And I assure you, Zoe, this is not the first or the last death threat Zoe will get, because she's a woman in a public setting, especially in a setting, a gaming setting.
Yeah.
Gamers typically don't really play well with girls, despite what I mean. The average gamer, that is. Of course, there are plenty of gamers that are good people.
I would say that it's just a higher percentage of
Yep.
gaming population has a very caustic approach to both interactions with women
Mm-hmm.
and interactions with each other, and with this higher tolerance for terrible caustic language, using the N word, disparaging
Yep.
slurs, homophobic slurs, things like that. So, yeah, good for Zoe for being such a strong, prominent person. I wish her the best to keep going, and she's probably my favorite personality in the Overwatch casting. I know that we were talking about that before, and that was your opinion too.
Yeah, no, it's not just the tattoos. She's really cool also. All right. I think her tattoos are awesome though.
Also, she got
She's
Jester to eat his first lemon ever.
That's pretty cool. That's hilarious. I mean, also, why are you eating a lemon? I mean, I know why they ate it, but why would he have ever eaten a lemon in general? That would be. I know why they ate the lemon. It was for a good cause, I swear. But yeah, that so Overwatch League had a rough week last week, even though the
Yeah.
game still went on and what all completed and granted they were couple sweeps went on, but there were also a couple reverse sweeps, Yvonne.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I hope Overwatch League, the officials in charge of the Overwatch League, are keeping track of all the things that are going on and all the sort of drama because this is a multi-million dollar industry for them, so they need to keep it under lock.
Yeah. But part of that is some people actually do benefit from said drama. So
Yeah.
XQC was released by Dallas Fuel this week. This is on top of having been handed down multiple suspensions, losing him at the end of stage one, which really hurt their team because he was supposed to be the main tank and different things.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people talked
Hmm.
about it. But at the same time of being probably bad for XQC in terms of he doesn't get to play professional Overwatch anymore, he did get a lot of recognition from the first ban and the second ban, and I think that will only boost his presence online.
Oh no, I started watching his Twitch stream because of these all the talk about him, and I wanted to know who he was, and now I know who he is. And I like his Twitch stream, and it's pretty fun to watch. Um,
I
but
think he's a really
he's an
he's
entertaining.
a very entertaining person in terms of
Yeah,
like watching him on stream. He's very active and emotive, and I think really do think that the Twitch format is the best format for him.
yeah, I think he's gonna. I'm sure if any of you have watched his streams, you know how many subscribers he gets every stream. So I mean, it's very lucrative for him. Even though those are just $5 here, every single subscriber, it adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see what's going on with XQC as it goes on. Again, Dallas Fuel are down now a main tank. They did sign another main tank, a Korean main tank by the
Hmm.
name who goes by OGE or Ogi, one of these. But as soon as something happens in Dallas, of course it's met with controversy. So there have been multiple unconfirmed reports, but from several different sources stating that OGE has been associated with account boosting, which means that he was paid to boost players' accounts to make them look better than they were. This is something that Philadelphia Fusion player Sato was confirmed to have done before, and he's serving a 40 game suspension. So that's till the stage 5. So
Damn,
we'll see
40
what
games.
happens. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with
That's
Ogi
crazy.
OGE. If it's confirmed, there will be a hefty suspension, I imagine, handed down. If it's not confirmed, then everything should go as normal. But in addition to this signing, there are some trade rumors coming out of Dallas. Some reports from Slasher, who is a guy who's pretty well connected within the esports, especially Overwatch League, who says that Taimu and Coco are both on the trading block. So it's a huge shakeup there in Dallas. Losing XQC, signing a new player who might then get suspended, and then two more players on the trading block ready to go.
That's awesome. That is look. You gotta do what they gotta. Dallas needs to get out of all this controversial drama from having XQC and Taimu and things like that. But they need to get their what they're there for. They're there to win, so they need to do something. And if it costs a little money, they're gonna start getting some more players, trading some players away, and hopefully we'll see some better play from them in the future.
So in terms of that, let's take a look at the overall standings right now.
Yeah.
As we can see, the top of the table is New York Excelsior overall, as well as Seoul and London being up there. So the teams that we've been talking about a lot, Dallas Fuel towards the bottom, 10th. they've had a very rough season one of
Mm-hmm.
Overwatch League. Another team that's towards the bottom, the San Francisco Shock, has also been in the news recently with some reported signings. They've signed 3 players, 2 Korean players, and a third player. So they've signed another DPS, another flex, and a support.
Okay.
This will expand their roster, but it's interesting to see that they're signing another DPS since Dante and Baby Bay have been pretty much the only good things that we've really seen from the San Francisco
Yeah,
Shock. We've
yeah.
seen some pretty poor support play from Dak, especially with the heavy Mercy meta.
I
He's
see
not a
him.
great Mercy player.
The
Um,
reason I know his name is because it shows up so often on the screen because he's being eliminated.
exactly. But they also have another strong DPS player in Sinatra, and Sinatra is a like known for being a pretty good tracer and things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting that they're going to sign another DPS, even though their 2 DPS that they play for the most part are their stars,
It's
and
not the
they
weakest
can't
link.
get their other DPS player in. So I think that we might see another trade coming up with Sinatra heading out from San Francisco Shock elsewhere, as tracer players are super valuable, and you can see from this
Oh,
bottom third
absolutely.
of San Francisco Shock that it might make sense to trade them. And a team that I think could benefit from a tracer is a team like Houston Outlaws, who doesn't have a very good dedicated tracer player. So we might see some more movement from San Francisco Shock. Sinatra bound to go somewhere else, I think, with this new signing. Um, it was confirmed. It was confirmed that this DPS player did sign. It's not confirmed specifically that it was the Shock. Maybe it will be by tomorrow when this comes
Okay.
out.
Cool.
The other thing to note is the stage 2 standings.
Something to look at. Very,
Yeah,
very interesting. Didn't we have Philly Fusion on the top of stage 2 standings in the first week, I think?
yeah. So
Yeah.
Philly had 2 4-0 sweeps at the end of week 1. And so now we've seen that they've really gone 50-50 since then.
Yeah. And as you'll see, New York XL not on the top. Seoul Dynasty is really taking advantage of this meta, and I really think they're flying under the radar here. You see, we're all talking about Houston Outlaws. We're talking about Dallas Fuel because all this controversy, especially with Dallas Fuel.
Right.
And NYXL's got Pine. We all love Pine. He's a very big star.
Though we
But
haven't seen too much of him this
I
season, this
know
stage.
he's not really being played, but I think, as you said before, he doesn't really quite fit into any of the team composition play styles that they want to run. But I mean, NYXL is still winning a lot of games, so I don't necessarily think it's the worst thing in the world. Although I would like to see Pine get some more action. But we're really sort of seeing Seoul just quietly cleaning up here, winning all their games, and it obviously shows they're on top. It's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
I think this meta with low mercy play is really benefiting Seoul Dynasty. If we look at who they've played, it seems that they've been playing some pretty decent competition. LA Valiant they crushed, and I think they beat the Philly Fusion as well. So it seems that Seoul Dynasty is not just racking up bad wins, but they're getting some good wins too. And we'll see how the competition heats up as we get into this week where Seoul plays both New York Excelsior and London Spitfire. This could be their chance to either separate themselves from the other teams or get back down, be brought back down to earth.
Yeah.
A team that I found really surprising from difference from week 2 to week 3 was the LA Gladiators. They had 2 wins this week that were really crucial for them. They beat the London Spitfire and the LA Valiant, winning the Battle for Los Angeles.
Now that is a very good album. I'm not gonna lie. Rage Against the Machine for life. But they did pull out some wins. I unfortunately, god damn fucking buses. Don't cut that out. I hate these buses. I effing hate these buses. But yeah, I mean, as we see, I didn't have much time last week to see all the games, as I try to do for this show, for the people out there who need their Overwatch news. All right, I try to watch all the games. But I didn't have much time to watch the games. Did you end up seeing any of these Gladiator games?
Yeah, I ended up checking out the Gladiator games. They had a very. It was interesting because it seemed like they were in complete control versus the London Spitfire.
Really?
Now, the Spitfire game was interesting in that for the first two maps, they played the GC Busan roster, so it
Okay.
was not Birdring, Nuss, and Bedosian.
Nice.
It
Okay.
was
Okay.
it was Hureg, Huyol, Gesture, Nuss, and or not Nuss. Maybe it was Nuss and Closer.
Okay.
So it wasn't their top tier line, and I think the thing that we've learned a lot from I've learned a lot from watching London Spitfire is that when they have that mixed team, not just the GC Busan core, but the mixed core with adding Birdring, adding Bedosian especially, that the team really gets a lot better. Bedosian has a really high pick ability, not unlike or even sometimes better than Jonak.
Yeah, definitely. He's at least on par, I would say. He's very
So I
good.
think it brings a lot more to the table than when they have that other pairing out in the support role. So I'm seeing a difference in how the London Spitfire play, and it was really bad for them to have dropped this thing. So now the Gladiators actually on top of them, that head-to-head
Yeah.
matchup. Another thing that I saw, so in the Gladiators fight against the LA Valiant, it looked way more like a 50-50 matchup. There weren't so many decisive maps as there were against the Spitfire, which is kind of weird in and of itself. But I think the Valiant have found a really strong lineup based around Kariv moving back to DPS. So
Hmm.
Kariv and Soon as that DPS pair is a really powerful lineup. We'll see how that goes. I think the team that I thought the most shocking throughout stage two has been Boston Uprising's fall. We thought that Houston would fall a lot harder in stage two because of their Houston was better with the Mercy meta. Let's be
Yeah.
honest with it.
Yes.
And I
Definitely.
think that a team, Boston Uprising, which was a dive-based team, and when we're in the dive-based meta, they should be going stronger, but they haven't been as clean or good in terms of communication. And there have been some rumors that they're shopping 3 of their Korean players,
Wow. That is insane.
including their DPS. Who's their striker? Who's a really good tracer. So
Yeah,
anyway,
Striker's he's actually very good.
yeah. So I
To be
I'm
on a team that's in 10th, like he's very good. Yeah.
I'm curious as to see how this will shake out, especially with these rumored transfers that need to be concluded by the end of stage two
Hmm.
for this transfer window. So we'll see how this is coming along. I'm not really surprised by most of the other things, but Florida got their first victory after getting reinforcements. So
Yeah,
there's
that
that.
was awesome. That was freaking awesome.
You know what is I think their tank player needs a little bit better. I don't think Swoosh is the best. They have some better. They now have a support flex that can come in, but what really surprised me is that Tavik and Logix are actually fifth and sixth in terms of damage. As a
They
DPS pair.
rack up some kills. If you watch the first half of the Houston Outlaws game they had against the Houston Outlaws, they did very well. They're a really awesome duo of damage. It's pretty crazy.
So, as we come out of our stage two standings, we need to go into a little segment that Julian likes to call.
Julian's Juicy Comp, the old JJC.
That guy's awesome! Awesome! He's
All right, so today we've got a game on Kings Row. Dallas is on attack against Florida Mayhem, and they are running a very interesting comp that only that guy Guac, if he's watching, would run, because they have a May on attack, and my friend is a May main. So they've got May, Reinhardt, Diva, Bastion, Mercy, and Lucio. Lucio obviously boosting them to get onto the high ground, But the Mei is there in order to do a very interesting move, something that's pretty risky in my opinion. But she throws up the ice wall to help people get across to the hotel on the high ground, with specifically the Bastion moving behind the Reinhardt shield, which is pretty awesome. And that is Julian's juicy comp because it's an interesting plan. See, the Mei jumps over and she puts the ice wall down below them vertically, I guess, or yeah,
so
pretty
it
much.
basically helps to bridge that thing
An ice
across.
bridge,
And
yeah.
I think that the only reason that this comp wasn't successful in just bull rushing taking the point, Florida's communication is actually pretty good in this one.
Yes.
And Logix here picks off Rascal, and the barrier character that
Along
Florida
with
was
Zupe, he had the Discord on Rascal as well.
solid point.
Yep.
And the other character, they picked Orisa as their barrier main tank, as opposed to Reinhardt. So the shield that Orisa can throw down recharged fast enough that they were able to delay. And so because Rascal gets picked early in this fight, and they have that barrier that can recharge itself much more quickly than Reinhardt's shield if you shredded through it, the Florida Mayhem are actually able to stabilize the point, and it takes a little bit longer for Dallas Fuel to get this point, even though they go on to get reverse swept. But I thought that was a pretty cool thing for you to pick out there, Julian.
No, yeah, totally. It was something that I saw that was very interesting, in my opinion.
So, Julian, that was an interesting comp that we saw Dallas run, and you have a very interesting player of the week.
Now, my player of the week is a guy that you may not know that well. He's on the Houston Outlaws. His name is Jake. I think he has one of the most interesting gamer tags because it's just his name. But yeah, I think he played incredibly well against the Florida Mayhem. I know, we're going to highlight a game that maybe not the high tier level, all right? The high tier Overwatch League that you're expecting, but Jake really laid it down on their way towards the reverse sweep. Florida was up 2-1 by this point. And on Watchpoint Gibraltar, Jake comes in and cleans up the backline and is flying all over the place with his Genji. So he was really allowed to, due to his high movement that Genji has, he was allowed to chain all these dashes and build up his ultimate very, very quickly. I mean, through the course of about 3 plays, he ended up pushing the point, or helping to push the point. Of course, his team was there to help him out. And really track down all the important targets. He was able to shut down Logix a couple times, Widowmaker, and he also shut down Zupe and Zebosai, I think twice, both of them in 2 plays. So he would shut down both healers in the same play. So I think because of that, I've got to give Jake my player of the week. He did an amazing job.
Jake is a player I most commonly associate with
Junkrat.
Junkrat with the Jake Rat meme. But that was pretty strong Genji play there against the Florida. I'm going to highlight not one player, but a combination of players, more commonly known as the LA Gladiators dive.
The entire team.
Yeah. So as we'll see through a few of these clips, basically the LA Gladiators, you can't really separate a single player from anybody else, but you get to see how their teamwork is really in concert now. This week they showed us that they could come together and be the powerhouse dive team that nobody expected them to be. So the transfer of Fissure from the London Spitfire really brought a solid main tank. And we see from plays here like Hydration picking up 4 kills with his blade, that this dive is really working well in concert. They're communicating well, they're moving together, they're capitalizing on each other's plays, and things like this where they're sticking in a corner, they're working together, they're not pushing out too far, they're not letting anybody die, and they're staying strong as a unit, and then they're punishing the enemy team when they go in. there was really strong DPS play from every single one of their DPS. We said Hydration, Asher had an amazing Pulse Bomb and Legion Tower, and we saw Surefour hold it down with Sombra on Full Sky Industries. But I think the main person that we need to move together with in terms of this dive is with Fissure, this main tank player that has come in. He's done a lot to ensure that they have the space to work with, and that whatever dive that they're doing really has a very solid mechanical player as the foundation for it. So you see he leads the league in jump pack kills and in knockbacks with Winston, which is a sign of really good Winston mechanics.
Yeah, that's definitely the primary role Winston serves, I think, is to just advance the team and take space, and allow your team to move in behind Winston. And that's also the mark of a good team, a team that will support a Winston diving in. So I think that's a really good highlight you point out.
Solid. So that was my player of the week. Again, not the single player, but all of LA Gladiators.
Yes.
So as we move forward, it's time to ask Ivan's important question. And we've covered a lot of it this week. So roll the intro. My important question of the week is, what can Overwatch League, Twitch, Blizzard do to combat the kind of toxic Twitch chat vibes that we've been getting? Since xQc has been since his suspension and then he was let go, we had Tryhard7 just completely plastered all over the Twitch chat. I mean, it's not something that I usually watch because A, it's impossible to really watch the Twitch chat in Overwatch League, and B, I've never found it really a great thing to read unless it's a very small Twitch streamer
C9.
that I'm kind of in the community. But what do you think is possible to do?
Ivan, I'll tell you what they need to do. All right? The owner of the Overwatch League Twitch account needs to type in -mod Jujubee's good. That's all you need. That's all you need. Come on. No, I'm kidding. Honestly, it's really whoever's moderating that chat, I don't envy. I mean, it's obviously not one person. There's got to be a whole team of moderators that are somehow reading this chat. I don't know how. But honestly, it's like maybe read every other line. I don't know.
Everybody divides it by minute. It's like, I've got this minute, you've got the next minute, and then you just have to read through the 600 lines of Twitch emotes that got spammed in that time.
I mean, honestly, let's look at it. You have around 100,000 people watching every match around. Depending on the match, you might have more. And let's say, honestly, probably about 25,000 of the people are deciding to actually chat. Let's say that's true. I don't know. Let's say that. Even that amount of people that have complete freedom to type whatever they want, and even have cool pictures to post in the chat, that's an incredibly hard task to moderate in any meaningful way, especially at the speed that it's going. So I honestly don't know the exact procedure. They can, of course, ban people based on what they say. They can delete messages very quickly. Twitch is actually has a very good service for the Twitch streamers. I think it's great that they have all these ways to combat things like that. But even then, of course, something's gonna slip through. It's inevitable. So it's very difficult. I honestly don't know the things they can do. I don't know, man. I'm sorry.
Well, I've seen that they're going to start, if they haven't already, to ban people who are just spamming Tryhard7. I think that's an easy way to start.
Yeah, we've already seen they've started, right? If you ban someone, of course they can make a free Twitch account, another one, but and that usually getting banned is enough to discourage someone enough to just not even do it again, even if they have a second Twitch account. They're likely not to do that. do it again. But I mean, every now and then you get those. Hate to say it, the tryhards. Just a joke. Sorry, just bad joke. Bad. Okay. I'm sorry, but when you get the people that are really like out there to hurt someone and try to get a mostly just trying to get a reaction out of either the caster or I don't think they read the chat, but out of the moderators and just to piss people off. They're really there to. That's what they're there for. They're called internet trolls for a reason, but they're the worst kinds of people. Honestly, yeah.
I think that setting up some moderate things and we'll see how they progress. I'm not really sure what to do. I think Twitch has been trying to battle its own Twitch chat kind of microcosm
Right.
environment for a while. So maybe Overwatch League is a good testing ground for the different things that they could try. I'm really disappointed, honestly, but not surprised, but disappointed that we have these kinds of issues that we have to deal with. But hopefully in the future, this will happen less, and we'll have less of a community that's based on spamming a black
I mean,
person's
that's yeah. No, it's
emote when a
horrible.
black person shows up on screen
I
and
I
stuff like
mean,
that.
they're already taking action, and they're not wasting any time taking action. So it's not like I mean, it happened last week, and we're already hearing about them taking action. So that's a good move on Twitch's respect. But we'll see.
Solid point, actually.
We'll see if anything comes of it, though. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to something that has a little bit of a higher note. Sorry that my important question was a bit of a
No,
drag.
look, you are
Um,
asking the hard questions no one else is asking, Yvonne. I'm just saying.
exactly. By the way, we
Subscribe to our
almost had a
channel.
play
What?
that was good as the New York Excel um, save on that
Oh yeah,
Gibraltar point.
right.
It's when Florida Mayhem uh, saved the point against Dallas Fuel, but the Mayhem were defending, so not
Yes,
as good.
not as cool.
So, what is your game of the week to look forward to for this week?
My game of the week happens on Saturday, March 17th at 4 p.m. It's gonna be the Seoul Dynasty versus the London Spitfire. I am very excited for this match. If you take a look at the standings, of course, we don't have sure the number 1 and 2 teams going up against each other, who they are. I would definitely watch that match too, NYXL versus Seoul. But we're having overall standings number 2 and 3. We'll see if we'll see a change between because they have the same differential. They have a different record, but I think we'll see if there's a change in the standings. Will London move up to rank 2 so they can finally take on NYXL in the ultimate rematch, even though they've played each other a bunch of times since then? Who knows? All right, I'm just excited to see. I really want to watch Seoul Dynasty a little more closely. As I said, I think they're sliding under the radar a little bit. I want to see if they shut down London or not. That's really what I want to see. I want to see
Point.
Flutta play also. He's awesome.
Yeah. I'm excited. I think Munchkin has really picked up a lot in this
Mm-hmm.
stage. Having the Mercy meta be a thing of the past is pretty solid for their team because Toby is an excellent Lucio.
Yeah, and he has a great
and-
name.
Yeah.
Toby's an awesome name.
So that is your game of the week, which I'm also very excited for. A game of the week that doesn't feature a Korean team is my pick. I'm going with the Houston Outlaws versus the LA Gladiators. And this is really to see which of these teams is the real thing this stage.
Yeah,
I think we saw Houston Outlaws come really strong from the middle of the pack to the top of the pack in stage 1. Excuse me. In stage 2, we were looking to see if they'd continue that strong performance, and it seemed like they did. But a few demoralizing defeats and some reverse sweeps against them, they've kind of been a middling team, 50-50, I think, in this stage. So let's see how they face against a team that's really on the rise. Two hard-fought wins the LA Gladiators got against the Valiant last week and against London Spitfire in a shock to, I think, everybody. So we'll see. Are the Gladiators for real, too? Can they continue to push hard with Fissure as such a strong person? Or was it just luck against LA Valiant and the fact that Fissure knows Spitfire's plays?
Yeah, look, I look forward to this game as well. I think this week might be one of the better weeks for Overwatch League Stage 2. I think there are going to be a lot of the top teams are going up against each other, and of course NYXL is also playing the Shanghai Dragons. Sad day for them. And by
Could be a
them,
victory.
I mean, it could
Could
be
be a
victory.
victory.
I think it might be an embarrassing victory for the NYXL when they go down, when they lose, you know? It's going to be a great victory for the Shanghai Dragons on their way to the top. It's going to happen.
Well, that will do it for us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Julian's hopeful response there, a pretty fitful way
Gaguri,
to end this.
save us!
Gaguri will come in. They fired their coach, so maybe things will change for Shanghai Dragons this week against NYXL. My name is Ivan, aka Comrade Boyer, over there.
Julian, aka Jujubee's good. Catch you guys
And
next
we'll
week.
see you next week. Bye.
Bye.